Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and let's aim for 10,000 likes on this video. It might seem hard, but I trust you can make it happen. Now let's begin. The series begins 1,000 years ago, in a time when the rich would kidnap the poor, forcing them into servitude or killing them outright. We meet our heroine, Shia, who has been abducted along with a group of young girls inside a carriage. Shia has lost her memory and remembers nothing about her past life. Among the captives is her little sister, Maha, who cries out of fear of what awaits them. Shia gently comforts her, promising that she will protect her no matter what. The carriage arrives at the place where the girls are to serve as slaves, and the guards order them to change their clothes. Meanwhile, we see the princes of the city racing their horses. One of them suggests a new, twisted game. They go to the slaves, each prince selecting a group, and then release them into the desert where ferocious wolves are set free to chase them. The princes will shoot arrows, hunting both wolves and slaves. Whoever is left with the largest number of surviving slaves is declared the winner. The Prince of the North, however, refuses to participate as he is kind-hearted, but the other princes ignore him and start the deadly game. Fires are lit, and the terrified girls try to escape. The princes hunt them one by one, killing many. Soon, the wolves surround the girls and charge at them. The Prince of the North fights to save them, shooting at the wolves. Shia tries to protect her sister, hiding her away while she distracts the wolves by running in their path. She endures their attacks, dodging arrows and claws. Two wolves pounce on her, biting her arms and legs, but she does not give up. Grabbing an arrow from the ground, she fights back, stabbing one wolf to death. The prince is astonished by her strength. The second wolf lunges at her, forcing Shia to climb a tree and leap down with the arrow to strike. Just then, another wolf sneaks up behind Maha. Terrified, Maha thinks it is the end, but Shia arrives at the last moment, plunges the arrow into the beast, and saves her sister. Together they try to help the other girls, but the mounted princes ride after them, shooting arrows until nearly all the girls are killed. Only Shia and Maha remain. They run until they reach the edge of the desert. Shia believes they are safe, until the evil prince shoots an arrow straight into Maha, killing her before Shia's eyes. Broken and weeping, Shia collapses in grief. The evil prince turns his bow on her, but at that moment, our hero Yang arrives, shooting an arrow from afar that saves her. The Prince of the North orders his guards to take Shia to the palace since she is the only survivor. Yet instead of freedom, she is locked in the servants' quarters. Injured and exhausted, she recalls the horrors she has endured and vows to avenge her sister and all the oppressed. A palace servant sneaks in. It is her brother. Tears stream down his face as he admits his failure to protect her. He brings her food to help her recover. That night, Shia dreams of the event that caused her memory loss. She had once left home to become a warrior, determined to fight evil and liberate the poor. A slaver had admired her strength and offered her riches if she joined him in ruling the world. She refused and fought him instead. After a long battle, she defeated him, shattering his bones. But she fell from a cliff and drowned in the sea. Shia wakes, shivering, and finds her sisters in servitude at the palace as well. They comfort her and treat her wounds. Suddenly, the head servant accuses them of theft and beats them mercilessly. Shia cannot bear to see them suffer. She drags her injured legs, shielding them. Her sisters thank her but warn that defying the palace only leads to harsher punishment. Soon after, the head servant announces a grand birthday celebration for the Prince of the North. Any mistake during the event will bring severe consequences. During the feast, Shia notices the evil prince plotting with the head servant to poison Yang's drink. Yang senses something strange and refuses to drink, but the evil prince forces a maid to convince him. Shia interferes, exposing herself. Furious, the guards want to kill her, but the Prince of the North spares her since it is his birthday. Instead, he declares a game. If she can guess the number on a tossed coin, she will live. With Yang's secret help, Shia guesses correctly. She is spared, but punished by being hung upside down from a tree as a warning. At night, her brother and Yang secretly free her. Exhausted, she dreams of fragments from her childhood, and her memories slowly begin to return. When she awakens, she tells her brother what she overheard at the feast, but he begs her not to get involved again. Later, her sisters tell her she must escape the palace for everyone's safety. Tearfully, she promises to return one day and rescue them. That night, she sneaks out, only to overhear a masked ninja plotting with the head servant to kill Yong's grandfather and frame her brother. When Yong later finds her brother, he believes him guilty and executes him on the spot. Xia rushes to save him but is captured by guards instead. Accused of attempting escape, she is sentenced to death. But Yong, instead of killing her, whispers that she must stay strong if she wants to survive. He slashes his sword near her face but spares her life, leaving her trembling and scarred. Xia crawls to the palace gates where her sister finds her. Xia reveals through tears that their brother has been killed. Her sister carries her back to her room, vowing to care for her. Yet her younger sister weeps bitterly, blaming Xia for everything that has happened. She is cursed, labeled as a bearer of misfortune, and even slapped by her sister just to silence her. Yet deep down, her sister knows that Xia is innocent, that their suffering is not her fault, but the fate of the poor. She tries to console her. Meanwhile, the evil prince grows suspicious that Yong's grandfather might not be truly dead. He attempts to open the coffin, but Yong stops him. A fierce fight breaks out. Yong, stronger and more skilled, defeats the evil prince, shattering the bones of his face. At that moment, the Queen Mother arrives, halting the battle. She demands that they honor the deceased and orders a proper funeral. Xia regains consciousness, still drowning in grief over her brother's death. Her sister comes to comfort her, but Xia vows revenge. She begins taking medicine to heal and restore her strength, determined to grow powerful. At night, she sneaks out with her sisters to bury their brother, but the head servant catches them. She lashes at them with cruelty. Xia cannot bear watching her sisters suffer. She throws herself forward, pushing the head servant off a bridge into the water. Though her sisters fear the consequences, Xia reassures them that she will take responsibility and protect them. The next day, one of the guards who witnessed the incident arrives, threatening to expose them. But the Prince of the North intervenes, confronting the guard and forcing him to apologize to the sisters. For the third time, he saves Xia. She thanks him sincerely, noticing how kindly he treats her and that he is secretly captivated by her. Later, Xia learns that Yong has announced a competition to select a personal servant. Determined, she stands outside his palace all day, begging for the chance to compete. Curious about her persistence, Yong approaches and asks why she insists on serving him, despite the fact that he killed her brother. She answers that it is the only way she can keep herself and her sisters safe. Impressed by her resolve, Yong allows her to enter the competition. The next day, Xia stands among the servants who mock her endlessly. One tries to trip her, but Xia reacts quickly, though she loses her balance and tears her dress, making everyone laugh. The trials begin. Though she struggles at first, she refuses to give up. She succeeds in making a cup of tea so delicious that Yong is impressed, advancing her to the final round. The last test involves writing poetry. Everyone laughs, thinking she is illiterate, but Xia shocks them by learning quickly and copying their style perfectly. Yong, suspicious, asks her to write her own name. Though nervous, she succeeds, silencing everyone and winning the contest. The guards escort her to Yong's palace. Yong tells her that if she obeys his orders, he will protect her sisters and bring them to live with her. As her first task, he orders her to shave his beard. Holding the blade, Xia recalls her brother's death and nearly strikes him, but she stops, unwilling to endanger her sisters. Smiling, Yong reveals it was a test. She has passed. He begins to teach her how to survive, how to smile even at those she hates, how to mask her emotions, how to endure. She serves him dinner, working tirelessly until she collapses asleep. Instead of scolding her, Yong gently covers her with a blanket. The next morning, Xia wakes and panics when she sees him lying beside her. She screams and they quarrel, sparring until Yong laughs and tells her he wants his servant to be strong, not a burden. He demonstrates combat moves, and Xia surprises him by memorizing and imitating them. He blocks her strikes, impressed by her speed. A jealous maid enters with breakfast, only to find Yong pretending to hold Xia close. Enraged, the maid storms out. Later, that same jealous maid targets Xia's sisters, trying to hurt them. Xia arrives in time, defending them and warning the maid never to touch them again. Soon after, Xia goes to wash Yong's clothes by the lake. There, the Prince of the North finds her and teases her, prying about her time with Yong. Embarrassed, Xia stays silent, knowing he has power to punish her and her sisters. He laughs and leaves. Yang then arrives, mocking the Prince of the North, declaring that Xia belongs to him alone. The jealous maid gathers her allies to attack Xia and her sisters. Despite being outnumbered, Xia fights back, using the techniques Yang taught her. She defeats them, breaking their bones and striking fear into them all. Desperate, the maid hurls poisoned needles, but Yang arrives in time, shielding Xia. Furious that she endangered herself, he scolds her harshly and takes her to a secret cave for training. Inside, statues release volleys of arrows. Xia braces herself, blocking and dodging. Yang increases the speed, pushing her limits. She endures for hours, determined to grow stronger. Even when injured and exhausted, she continues, stunning Yang with her resilience. He orders his top guard to demonstrate advanced skills, inspiring Xia to keep training, though she collapses from pain. Her sisters find her battered and fear Yang is abusing her, but Xia knows it is her path to strength. That night, she dreams of her mother urging her to be strong to survive. The next day, Yang pushes her harder, making her balance on her hands, block arrows with stones, and copy his every movement. Xia faints again from exhaustion. Meanwhile, the jealous maid runs to the head servant, accusing Yang of secretly training Xia. The head servant, alarmed, orders a test of Xia's strength. The next day, the jealous maid bullies Xia and her sisters once more, but this time, Xia fights back ruthlessly, using Yang's techniques, breaking the maid's bones and tying her with ropes as punishment. When Yang arrives, the servants expect him to condemn Xia, but instead, he promotes her, granting her a higher rank and giving her the jealous maid's room. Envy spreads among the servants, yet Xia wins them over with kindness, making her life in the palace easier. All the while, she continues her brutal training. Her progress astonishes even the guards, who begin to suspect she might be a spy, specially trained. Yang himself treats her harshly to toughen her, but deep down, he clearly admires her. One day, Xia enters the room of the jealous maid, now stripped of her rank. While ordering her to pack and leave, Xia notices something, a glove, the very same glove worn by the masked ninja. Shock fills her. Was this maid the one behind the death of Yang's grandfather? The next day, the princes go to the emperor's palace to request an audience. Only Yang is permitted to enter. The emperor warns him that a conspiracy is brewing in a rival state and tells him to stay vigilant, or a coup could erupt at home. Yang assures him he will handle it and orders his spies to investigate, then takes his leave. Back at his residence, Yang speaks with Xia, telling her a parable meant to teach her not to believe everything her eyes show her. Appearances can be a deception. He practices archery in front of her. When she examines the arrowhead, she realizes he was the one who saved her from the wolves in the desert. She senses kindness beneath his harsh exterior and tries to speak to him, but he gives her no chance and walks away. Soon after, Xia spots her sister sneaking toward Yang's quarters, intent on memorizing the layout so she can kill him in his sleep to avenge their brother. Xia stops her, warning that if she's caught, they will all be punished. She admits she's starting to think Yang was framed. That night, the head servant gives a jealous maid a magic stone and orders her to plant it in Yang's room to finish him off. Yang is weakened by an illness brought on by cold, making him vulnerable. The maid decides to make Xia deliver the stone instead. 2 birds with 1 stone, kill Yang and frame Xia. Xia takes the stone, but the moment she holds it, she feels faint. Something is wrong. Suddenly, masked ninjas storm the palace, cutting down guards by the dozen. Their target is Yang. Xia rushes in and finds him on the floor, ringed by conjured serpents. He is too weak to defend himself. She seizes his sword. This is her chance to avenge her brother, but she cannot do it. Instead, she shields him, slashing the serpents and taking a blow meant for Yang. Pain overwhelms her and she collapses. Shaken by what she's done for him, Yang summons the royal physician. The doctor refuses to treat a mere servant, until Yang threatens to strip him of his post. The doctor examines Xia and is alarmed. Her pulse is weak. She will die within a day. Guilt tears at Yang. He refuses to let her die. He sits, channels his inner energy, and pours it into her. Memories flicker for Xia, her mother drilling her in a special training. Yong's illness worsens, blood rises in his throat. He endures the agony until he saves her, then loses his sight, temporarily blinded. He orders his guard to tell no one until he recovers. Xia wakes and thanks him for saving her. Yong replies that he still suspects her and has her taken into custody for questioning. The next day, he summons all the servants to investigate. The jealous maid tries to pin the crime on Xia and her sisters, but Xia turns the tables, revealing the maid gave her the magic stone and told her to place it in Yong's room. Under pressure, the maid breaks and confesses that the head servant ordered it. Exhausted, Yong tells Xia to administer the punishment herself and hands her the whip. She can't bring herself to do it. Moved by that, Yong decides to reward her for proving her innocence and for saving his life. He allows her sisters to live with her in the palace. The following day, while Xia is away, the jealous maid gathers her friends, storms into Xia's sister's room, and slaps her. She assumes no one will stop her. Xia arrives in time, douses the maid with water, and warns that if she touches her sisters again, she will regret it. Enraged, the maid stalks after Xia and shoves her off a high parapet to kill her. But Xia is ready. She hooks a grappling line, saves herself, and lands safely just as guards arrive and arrest the maid. The head servant, furious that Xia spoiled his plans, has his men kidnap her and throw her into a cell. They mean to finish her, but Xia unleashes her strength. She fights them all, breaking bones and bursting her chains. She confronts the head servant and threatens to end him. The evil prince appears and tries to trick her, claiming Yong has dismissed her and that she should join him, share Yong's secrets, and become rich. Xia remembers Yong's warning, "Don't trust appearances." She lies smoothly that she overheard the jealous maid confessing to plotting with the evil prince in order to win Yong's favor and become his personal servant. The maid, trying to defend herself, blurts too much and exposes herself, proving Yong never dismissed Xia. Xia's bluff works. The evil prince draws his sword to cut her down, but the Prince of the North arrives just in time, parries the blow, and spirits Xia away. She thanks him. He says Yong asked him to do it, then gives her medicine for her wounds and departs. Xia is left uncertain. Is Yong kind, or is he using her? That night, dressed as a ninja, she slips into the jealous maid's cell to demand the truth. The maid confesses. She poisoned Xia's brother and targeted Yong's grandfather as well. She weeps, feigning remorse, begging forgiveness and help to escape. Xia hands her a bundle of clothes and tells her to flee. The maid runs straight to the evil prince, protesting her innocence. He finds, hidden among her clothes, an exit pass stamped with Yong's seal and, suspecting treachery, kills her on the spot. Sensing Xia's absence, Yong searches. By the time he reaches her room, she has returned and pretends to be asleep. Later, she tells her sisters the jealous maid was behind their brother's death and that justice has found her. Yong returns to his palace, and we learn his grandfather is alive. The death was a ruse to protect him. The grandfather tells Yong to train Xia and use her as a spy against their enemies. Yong agrees. He questions Xia about her past. She insists she remembers nothing. He resumes her training, blindfolding her and teaching her to rely on scent. He orders her to find a certain plant in the palace without opening her eyes. Xia wanders the garden, sniffing the air. The Prince of the North sees her and assumes she's playing hide and seek. He joins in, making her laugh, but she uses the chance to keep training, sharpening her sense of smell. She finds the plant without peeking. The Prince of the North is startled and tries to run, trips into the lake and sputters. Later, he pretends not to recognize her and goes to Yong, asking that Xia be transferred to him as a personal servant. Yong refuses, still feigning blindness, saying she is caring for him. Yong then seeks out Xia's sister to ask about Xia's past. The sister explains, Xia is their half-sister on their father's side, lonely and sad. She never knew where her mother was and left to find her. They heard nothing until bandits destroyed their village, and the children were kidnapped and sold to the rich as slaves, until fate brought them together again in the palace. Yong listens and realizes how much Xia has suffered. He vows to uncover the rest of her past. At a gathering of the princes, the princess notices the Prince of the North is smitten with Xia and grows jealous. Xia is more beautiful than she is. The evil prince snidely mocks the memory of Xia's sister who died in the desert. Xia is hurt but stays silent. The Prince of the North defends her and tells her to rest. The princess fumes that he's paying attention to Xia instead of her. She withdraws, upset. The evil prince approaches and tries to charm her. She rejects him. He swears he'll win her heart and promises to remove Xia, knowing the princess hates her. Later, the chief of guards goes to the kitchen for food himself. Xia's sister asks why he came personally. He says all the servants are busy cleaning the lake. Her blood runs cold. What if someone finds the head servant's body they threw into the water? She hurries to warn her sisters that their lives are in danger and they must escape the palace at once. Xia decides to shoulder the responsibility. She sneaks into Yang's study to steal his seal and forge exit passes for her sisters. Yang walks in and instead of exposing her, tells her to prepare. He's taking her to the Lantern Festival. Xia sets aside her plan to avoid arousing suspicion. She dresses in a beautiful gown. Yang is struck speechless at the sight of her. He brings a horse and asks a servant to help her mount, but she refuses to trouble him and climbs up on her own. Yang is quietly impressed. They ride to the festival. Xia is tense, longing to return to free her sisters, but she can't slip away from him. They wander the market together. Yang buys her a gift. She smiles and thanks him. A young man is smitten and tries to give Xia another present. Jealous, Yang knocks it from her hand. Then he leads her to a game stall. He solves the puzzle with ease and steps away to claim the prize. Xia seizes the moment and tries to slip away from Yang. On the road, a man who clearly knows her stops her, but because of her amnesia, she doesn't recognize him. She mounts a horse and rides off. Suddenly, he attacks, intent on killing her. The Prince of the North arrives just in time, parries the strike, sweeps Xia up, and they flee. They run until they reach the forest, only to find masked ninjas in pursuit, loosing arrows after them. As they weave through the trees, they tumble into a pit, an animal trap set by a hunter. A toxic vapor begins to seep in, growing stronger with each passing moment. Swallowing his pride, the prince kneels and hoists Xia onto his shoulders so she can reach the rim. Moved by his selflessness, Xia hesitates. Run to her sisters or save him? She refuses to abandon him. She throws down a sturdy branch. He grips it and climbs out just before the poison spreads. He thanks her, then notices her legs are in pain. He lifts her onto his back and keeps going. On the path, they witness desperate poor folk trying to flee from another city. Soldiers drive them back. Any who are caught are executed. Escape is punishable by death. Xia aches to help, but the prince stops her. The soldiers are too many. Xia breaks away and races to the rendezvous point where she promised to meet her sisters. She searches and finally finds them, cornered by a gang of young thugs trying to abduct them. Xia charges in, fights with ferocity, and shatters their nerve and their bones until they scatter. One sister is injured and can't run. Xia decides to take them back to the palace. Servants are still dredging the lake, and the girls fear the head servant's corpse will be found. They hurry back to their room. That night, Xia stands on the balcony thinking until she stumbles and nearly falls. Yang rushes in and catches her for a breathless second, then angry and agitated leads her out to question her. Where did she go after the festival? She lies, lost in the crowd. He doesn't believe her and accuses her of getting close to him to avenge her brother. He presses hard for the truth. Xia breaks and tells him everything. At first she wanted revenge, but now she knows the evil prince killed her brother. She begs Yang to join forces so he can avenge his grandfather. Impressed by her courage, Yang warns he won't be able to protect her if the head servant's body is found. Xia weeps. Yang wipes her tears and sends her back to her room. She steps out, only to be seized along with her sisters by palace guards for interrogation. Yang hears and orders his aide to carry out their contingency plan. The next day, the evil prince commands a search of the lake to find the head servant's body and arrest Xia and her sisters. The guards haul out 3 corpses, but none of them is the head servant. Xia realizes Yang orchestrated this to save them. The head servant fumes, ready to arrest her anyway, but Yang's aide blocks him. There's no evidence. Xia and her sisters sit, bewildered that Yang would help a mere servant. Yang appears and presents Xia with the ring he won at the Lantern Festival. It fits perfectly. Grateful, she promises to repay him. The next day, the emperor summons Yang. The map of the city's defenses has vanished. Who took it? Yang doesn't know. The emperor erupts, orders a full investigation. Yang returns, meets his grandfather, and asks the real reason behind his mother's death. Grandfather deflects. keep training Xia and have her eliminate a certain target. Then he'll reveal what happened 20 years ago. Yang obeys. He brings Xia to a secret cave. This training is harsher than before. He shackles her wrists and ankles with iron chains and tells her she has 5 minutes to free herself. If she fails, arrows will fire and she will die. The countdown begins. Xia struggles, stops, thinks, then winds the chains around themselves to create leverage and snaps them. Time expires and a storm of arrows erupts. She dodges, falters, collapses. Yang intervenes at the last instant, cutting the volley short. You passed. Training continues with bow and arrow. The Prince of the North arrives, talks with her, then lifts her onto his horse and takes her to a hidden garden alive with strange blossoms. They wander, happy for a moment. Thirsty, Xia goes to drink. The head servant creeps up and knocks her out. She wakes to find the evil prince before her. Xia thinks fast. She flashes the ring Yang gave her. He trusts me now, even loves me. I'm waiting for the perfect moment to end him and avenge my brother. The evil prince buys the lie. Just then, the Prince of the North storms the guards who kidnapped her, reaches her cell, and, once again, saves her, warning the captors that if they touch her again, they'll pay in blood. He escorts her out. Xia thanks him and returns to the palace. Someone is watching. A band of ninjas ambushes her, blades ready to finish the job. Fury blazes in Xia. She meets them head-on, felling attacker after attacker, splintering jaws and bones. One lunges to choke her, but Yang, hidden in the shadows, tips the fight in her favor without revealing himself. She senses it's him. Back at the palace, she finds Yang playing a bamboo flute. Not wishing to disturb him, she slips into his room to tidy up, only for him to appear behind her, striking without warning. It's a test. She blocks, counters. They spar hard. Yang keeps coaching her, sharpening her edges until late into the night. Then he puts drops into her eyes. By morning, Xia must rely on scent. Her vision is blurred by the medicine. Yang comes close. She recognizes him by his smell. He reassures her. The drops won't harm her. He unwraps the bandage from her face. Her sight has sharpened. She can see tiny things at great distances, and even through darkness. The potion was magical. Tomorrow is a grand banquet, he says. Use every sense. Notice everything that's said. At the banquet, suitors vie for the princess's favor, but she cares only for the Prince of the North. She looks for him. He's waiting by the palace gate for Xia. He tells Xia he'll soon return to his own city and invites her to come. She gently refuses. She will stay with Yang. Inside, Yang grows suspicious of a musician. Xia's nose twitches. The scent is familiar. She follows. Her hunch is right. The musician changes into ninja garb, a spy, unfolds a map, and searches for something. Xia tails her to a hidden site, then loses her, vanished into the walls. Xia closes her eyes and hunts by smell. The ninja drops from above. Blades clash. Both women are masters, evenly matched. After a long, brutal duel, Xia tires. The spy slips away. Xia moves to pursue, but Yang intercepts her. This is his secret base. Anyone who enters must die. Be my spy, he says, or I kill you. Xia chooses life. He hands her a legendary sword. Keep yourself alive. Grandfather learns Yang let the spy escape to protect Xia. He sees it clearly. Yang has fallen for her, his weakness. He orders his aide to remove Xia at the first opportunity. Yang's men sweep the city for the spy, but she's already plotting to kill Yang and flee. She remembers how he protected Xia and plans to use Xia against him. Next day, Xia trains with her new sword, feeling stronger. The Prince of the North offers her a way out. Come to his city with her sisters. He'll shelter them. Yang overhears and bristles. When Xia comes to him, he asks if she plans to run. She answers coolly, I'm no alley cat who chases whatever scrap is tossed my way. He's reassured. She'll remain with him. The guards raid the spy's house. Empty. She rigged bells to warn of intruders. Yang takes Xia to his hidden command and lays out her role. Ferry intelligence back to the palace to keep the city safe. He gives her a pass to enter and leave freely and shows her the arsenal. If she wants to live, she must master every weapon. Yang reports to his grandfather. The guard announces they still can't catch the spy. They decide to test Xia's skill. Yang, worried for her, agrees and orders his own guard to shadow her, help her if needed. He assigns Xia a dangerous mission. Confident, she promises to complete it. He equips her with tools, but cannot hide his concern. She begins, pulling every thread, following every clue. When she finds the spy's trail, she uses Yang's gadgets to eavesdrop. The spy senses her and starts reciting false intel to mislead her, then sends a message to Yang. Xia has been made and will be eliminated. Yang and his aide sprint to her aid. Xia tracks the spy into a shop, then realizes it's a trap. The fight explodes. Yang's aide rushes in, but is intercepted by another ninja, forcing him into a duel. Xia battles the spy and her partner. Shelves shatter, glass rains down. Yang bursts in, an arrow hisses, striking them both, and flames blossom through the shop. Yang tries to smash the door, no use. The shopkeeper is trapped with them. Yang drags them down into an underground passage. They wander the tunnels, lost. Xia slips. Yang catches her and holds her, eyes locked on hers. She realizes he risked everything to follow her into the fire, and something in her yields. She's falling in love. Yang slumps, frustrated. "We may not get out," he mutters, sitting on the cold stone to think. Yang's aide and his men arrive to find the shop engulfed in flames and struggle to contain the fire. Meanwhile, Xia flutters awake, disoriented, unsure what to do. She asks the shopkeeper to check on Yang. He examines him, reassures her he only needs rest and that he'll wake soon. The shopkeeper notices Xia's weapons, pieces from his shop, and asks for them back. She refuses. They are her only keepsakes from her mother, she says. She has lost her memory and remembers nothing of her past. Moved, he offers to help her recover her memories. He hands her a strange drink and explains, if she drinks it, she will fall asleep and his hypnosis will guide her into her missing memories. Xia hesitates. What if he robs her while she sleeps? He points out that he couldn't escape with anything even if he tried. He's trapped with them. Convinced, Xia drinks. The hypnosis takes hold and she slips under. Memories bloom. As a child, her mother was a warrior who trained her in a secret discipline, gave her a pendant, and told her to guard it. To protect Xia, her mother left her in another's care, changed her name, and raised her among his children. Xia grew strong. When she learned her mother was in danger, she left the village to save her, fought through guards one by one, and reached her mother's prison, stretching out a hand to free her. Yang suddenly awakens, breaking the trance. The shopkeeper groans, all his work undone. Yang demands an exit from the underground cavern. The shopkeeper claims there isn't one, but Yang is sharper. The candle flame is trembling. There's a draft. He threatens the shopkeeper to reveal the way out. Cornered, the man leads them to the hidden door. They emerge, only to be surrounded by a swarm of ninjas. Forced to fight side by side, they wade into the enemy. Each unleashes everything they have, cutting down foe after foe. Xia shields Yang with her own body, taking a blow meant for him. He's furious that she risked herself, then cuts through a pack alone, felling many. The rest, terrified, flee. Yang checks Xia and scolds her for recklessness. A spy must think before acting. Don't do that again. He sends her back to the palace to rest and dispatches his aide with medicine. Her sisters, touched by Yang's kindness, tease her. He clearly cares. Yang hears his grandfather is unwell and goes to him. He finds the old man murmuring Yang's name in his sleep and feels a pang of pity. The next day, Xia goes to the secret base to train with every weapon. She asks Yang to teach her so she won't be a burden. He agrees and introduces a new long-range weapon. She notes how close he stands, mirrors his movements, and hits the mark. Yang is genuinely impressed by how quickly she learns. He shows her how to write messages in invisible ink. Xia suddenly remembers the pendant's hidden letter. In her room, she uses the secret ink, and the faded text appears. If she ever needs help, she should seek a certain man in the northern city. He will protect her. She rushes to tell Yang, but sees his aide slipping into a secret room. She follows, but he's gone. She searches until moving a statue triggers a hidden passage. Inside, she discovers Yang's grandfather alive. She overhears him telling the aide that Xia is becoming a liability and must be eliminated. Xia reels. Had Yang been training her all this time only to use her? She retreats to her room, devastated, weeping through the night. She had started to trust him. Meanwhile, Yang learns from his aide the spy's hideout. He leads a raid, arrives in time, and duels the spy. She is highly skilled, but he is stronger and defeats her. He moves to interrogate her. When a smoke bomb detonates, the spies escape. Xia meets the shopkeeper from the cavern and asks for a map of the palace, entry and exit routes, so she can take down the evil prince. He refuses at first, afraid for her, but she insists she's strong enough. He relents, gives her weapons and tools. She thanks him and returns to the palace to keep training. The Prince of the North approaches and, one last time, invites her to come to his city. He adds softly that they were raised together. He thinks of her as a sister. The words sting. Xia leaves in tears. The emperor, riding in his carriage, spots citizens plotting rebellion. He returns to the palace, suspicious of everyone, and interrogates his ministers. They accuse one another. Enraged, he executes one to frighten the rest and vows to punish all conspirators. Xia prepares to move. With the map in hand, she studies the palace's secret inlets and exits. On her way, she sees guards dragging servant girls toward a place called the Chamber of Delight. Rumor says no one leaves that room alive. Her heart clenches. She must save them. The Prince of the North's aide stops her to say the prince will wait at the palace gate tonight to leave together. Xia answers, "If I don't come at the appointed time, tell him to go without me." She meets her sisters and tells them to wait by the gate after dark. They ask if she'll come. She says she has something urgent to do first. Disguised as one of the captives, Xia slips into the prison cell with the girls. The guards soon herd them into the Chamber of Delight, lock the door, and the evil prince's grandfather appears. He approaches the girls to violate them and kill them afterward. This time, Xia strikes from behind, hairpin gleaming. He staggers and calls guards to seize her. They think she is a weak girl. She gives them no chance. She storms them, dropping men one after another, bones cracking under her blows. More rush in. She is stronger, faster, Yang's training alive in her limbs. She breaks them and advances on the old man. He tries to flee. She hunts him down and beats him until he falls, paying for every girl he harmed. The evil prince arrives to find his grandfather dead and smiles. Now, he alone inherits. He goes looking for Xia. She has laid a trap. He springs it and is sealed inside the room. The shopkeeper arrives to help, handing Xia tools and weapons for her escape. She thanks him. Yang learns what has happened and searches until he finds her. Xia, eyes blazing, tells him she knows he used her. She thanks him for the training and declares she must end him to avenge her brother. She attacks. Yang defends, trying to explain he never intended to sacrifice her. She won't believe him. She knows his grandfather is alive. He lied to her all along. She sobs, rips off the ring he gave her, shatters it, and says she can no longer trust him. She fights with everything she has. She stumbles and nearly falls. Yang catches her at the last instant. She wrenches free, slices his arm so he'll let go, and falls. As she fell, she desperately tried to use the tools she had crafted from the shopkeeper's supplies, stitching them into wings to fly, but the wings broke apart mid-air. Just when she was about to crash, the Prince of the North arrived on horseback and caught her in time. Grateful, Xiao thanked him for saving her life and promised to repay his kindness, though she quickly remembered her sisters were still waiting for her. Meanwhile, Young's grandfather learned what had happened. Furious, he scolded Young, reminding him that he had a chance to capture Xiao, but let her go because of his feelings for her. Young admitted his mistake and vowed to correct it. He would bring her back before she could escape. Back in the forest, Xiao's sisters were waiting. When she didn't arrive, they assumed she had abandoned them and decided to leave without her. At the palace gate, Xiao and the Prince of the North were confronted by the evil prince, who was backed by dozens of guards under the king's command. They intended to capture the Prince of the North. Xiao, remembering her promise, fought to defend him. Using the techniques she had learned from Young, she unleashed powerful strikes, defeating many guards single-handedly. She seized the prince as her hostage, threatening to kill him unless they opened the gate. Shocked by her strength, the guards obeyed, allowing her and the Prince of the North to escape. The prince asked her to return with him to his city, promising she would be safe there. Xiao, however, refused, insisting she must first find her sisters before joining him. She mounted a horse and searched tirelessly until she spotted a familiar figure she thought was one of them. Overjoyed, she ran closer, but it was a trap. A disguised soldier shot an arrow at her. Believing she was hit, he moved in to capture her, but Xiao had evaded the arrow. She overpowered him, discovering that Yang himself had sent him. Determined, she devised her own trap. She swapped clothes with the soldier and fired a signal rocket into the sky to lure Yang. When he arrived, he saw the soldier on the ground and panicked, thinking Xiao was in danger. He rushed forward only for Xiao to ambush him, pressing a blade to his neck. Yang was relieved she was still alive. Using his superior skills, after all, he had trained her, he easily disarmed her. Yet he refused to harm her because his feelings for her still lingered. Instead, he ordered his men to capture her and return her to the palace. Xiao resisted fiercely. She fought the soldiers with the very techniques Yang had taught her, breaking bones and defeating them one by one until no one could stop her. At that moment, the Prince of the North appeared again, stretching out his hand. Xiao smiled, climbed onto his horse, and escaped with him. They reached his camp, but soon the evil prince ambushed them with a rain of arrows. The Prince of the North shielded Xiao with his body, taking an arrow meant for her. Luckily, the wound was minor. He distracted the soldiers while Xiao charged directly at the evil prince, clashing with him in a fierce duel. Though his strength matched hers, she outsmarted him. Drawing on Yang's teachings, she soared into the air, struck him down, and hurled him into the sea, defeating him. At the same time, the Prince of the North fought valiantly against the enemy soldiers, but from a distance, Yang's grandfather ordered a secret shot. An arrow struck, knocking the prince from his horse. Soldiers surrounded them, and both Xiao and the Prince of the North were captured. Back at the city, Xiao was imprisoned. She refused to give up, using her weapon to dig through the prison wall until she spotted the Prince of the North locked in the next cell. She called to him, and though weak from his wounds, he reassured her that his father would not abandon them. He promised he would protect her and held her hands through the bars, warming them with his breath as she shivered in the cold. Touched by his kindness, Xiao began to admire him. The next morning, news spread that the Prince of the North's sister had tried to escape the palace. The evil prince hunted her down, killing her with an arrow. Yang was devastated when he discovered she had been pregnant. He buried her himself, covering her body with his cloak, torn between rage and grief. Meanwhile, Xiao and the Prince of the North still suffered in their cells. When food ran out, the prince gave her his portion, assuring her again that his father would save them. He wept as he told her of his childhood in his city and vowed that once free, he would take her and her sisters there to live in peace. But soon, terrible news arrived. The king declared the Prince of the North's father a traitor. His entire family had been executed, and the prince himself was sentenced to death. At the trial, the evil prince read the royal decree aloud and even displayed his father's severed head. Consumed by grief, the Prince of the North fought wildly against the guards, defeating many, but was overwhelmed. Shackled, he could only cry out in despair. Xiao struggled to help, but was bound in iron chains. The evil prince delighted in their suffering and ordered the execution. At that moment, the prince's mother, the last surviving member of his family, appeared. She spoke of her husband's sacrifices for the city, of the blood their family shed to protect it. Everyone wept, realizing their innocence. She declared she was ready to die with her son and embraced him one last time. Then, unexpectedly, a royal pardon arrived. The king spared the Prince of the North, declaring he was not guilty of his father's betrayal. But before relief could settle, his mother chose to join her fallen family. She rushed to their bodies and took her own life. Heartbroken, her son collapsed, crying out until he fainted. The evil prince, enraged by this turn, secretly hired an assassin to eliminate the Prince of the North. As the wounded prince lay unconscious, Xiao cared for him. When the assassin offered her food for the prince, she remembered Yang's warning never to trust anyone. Testing it on a rat, she discovered it was poisoned. Pretending to fall for his trick, she lured him close and swiftly killed him, taking his weapon to protect herself and the prince. Sitting beside him, Xiao whispered for him to live, for his family, and for her. Suddenly, the prince stirred, eyes burning with fury and grief. He rose, vowing to take back his family's honor and avenge their deaths. At that time, the Prince of the North's men began plotting to help him escape from the palace. They devised a plan to rescue him, but before they could act, the evil prince stormed into his cell. Furious, he revealed that he had killed the prince's sister while she was pregnant. Then he lied, telling him that it was Young who had exposed his father's alleged betrayal to the king, leading to his downfall. The Prince of the North was shocked and devastated. Weak from his injuries, he tried to fight back but couldn't. Xiao stepped in, battling several guards with fierce determination. But the evil prince threatened to kill the prince if she didn't surrender. To protect him, Xiao obeyed, and the evil prince decided to punish her by cutting off her fingers so she could never fight again. But the Prince of the North, out of love for Xiao, sacrificed himself, placing his own hand forward and letting them cut his fingers instead. Xiao was overwhelmed with emotion, sobbing as she held him, but he reassured her gently, telling her she was the most precious person in his life. Meanwhile, Young learned what had happened and rushed to check on them. But the Prince of the North believed the evil prince's lie and thought Young was the one who had fired the arrow at them during their escape. He angrily demanded that Young leave, refusing to hear his defense. Heartbroken, Young stepped away, but he stayed hidden outside all night, secretly protecting them and killing anyone who tried to attack. Xiao cared tenderly for the Prince of the North, treating his wounds. Touched by her devotion, he apologized for putting her life in danger, but she told him she wasn't angry and that she would never abandon him. The next morning, a guard discovered the corpses of several assassins at the palace gate, never realizing it was Young who had slain them to protect Xiao and the prince. Around this time, the king began searching for someone to rule the northern city after the death of the prince's father. Many princes put themselves forward, each driven by greed. The king, however, was torn, unsure who to trust, afraid of betrayal again. His advisor suggested reinstating the Prince of the North since the people trusted him. The princess, who secretly loved him, begged for this as well, hoping it would save his life. The king eventually agreed. The evil prince, enraged by this news, ordered his men to arrest Xiao, accusing her of killing his grandfather during the morning ritual. The wounded Prince of the North tried to protect her but collapsed. Guards dragged her away for interrogation. Young intervened, striking her with an arrow in front of them to make it look like she was dead. She collapsed to the ground, fooling everyone. His ruse worked, and he carried her away. But before he could escape, the king summoned Young for questioning. Distracted, Young pretended to listen, but only thought of saving Xiao. When he learned that guards had taken her body to be burned, he raced after them. Fighting through soldiers, he arrived too late. The fire was already blazing. All he found was her ring. Believing she was gone, he broke down, drinking heavily and reliving every memory they had shared. The evil prince appeared to mock him, sneering at his grief for a mere servant. Young's rage exploded. He lured the prince into a secret chamber, activated its self-destruct mechanism, and barely escaped the collapsing room, leaving his enemy trembling. Meanwhile, the king ordered the Prince of the North released from prison, keeping him under watch in his palace until he recovered. Distraught, he searched for Xiao, only to find her disguised before him. Overjoyed that she was alive, he learned that her loyal maid had saved her from the fire. He brought her back to his palace, though he still mistakenly believed Young had tried to kill her. That night, he refused to let Xiao sleep on the floor like a servant. He offered her his bed, but she declined, insisting she would guard him instead. Eventually, exhaustion overcame her, and she fell asleep where she sat. The prince watched her tenderly, carried her to the bed, and promised to protect her while she rested. But danger wasn't far. A group of ninjas tried to infiltrate the palace to kill the prince, but Young had anticipated this and had his men slaughter them before they could strike. The next day, the prince prepared to eat breakfast, but Xiao's maid suspected the water was poisoned. Testing it on a bird, they discovered the truth. It was a plot to kill him. They strengthened their defenses. That night, another band of ninjas attacked, but Xiao and the prince fought side by side, defeating them and seizing their weapons. When the king's guards demanded they surrender those weapons for safety, they reluctantly complied. Hearing of this, the evil prince grew suspicious that Xiao was still alive. He personally went to check with his men. Xiao disguised herself, wrapping her face in bandages, pretending to be a wounded servant. Just as they tried to reveal her identity, the princess arrived and stopped them, threatening to tell the king if they harmed her. Later, the princess sat with the Prince of the North, asking him to tell her stories like before. But instead, he confessed his pain. His family was dead, and he was no longer the man she once knew. He told her to forget him, leaving her in tears. Though she wasn't to blame, she apologized, bringing him sweets he loved and feeding him by hand to comfort him. Not long after, he fell ill. Xiao realized he had been poisoned again. Risking everything, she snuck out of the palace to find an antidote. She searched desperately until she found the right medicine, but the shopkeeper demanded an outrageous price and threatened to expose her to the guards. Furious, Xiao threatened his life, forcing him to hand it over. Guards attacked her on the way back, beating her until her body ached, but she clung to the medicine. She returned, treated the prince, and stayed by his side until his health improved. The next day, he awoke to find her still disguised as a servant. Grateful, he thanked her for saving him, not knowing the full truth. Meanwhile, Young couldn't stop thinking about her. He wandered her old room in his palace, haunted by memories of training her, missing her presence. The evil prince, determined to seize the northern throne, conspired with the captain of the guards to eliminate the Prince of the North. That night, a large force stormed the palace, but the prince and Xiao were ready. Together, they ambushed their attackers, killing them one by one with deadly skill. Xiao unleashed the techniques Young had once taught her, cutting down many, while the prince, furious and still wounded, faced the captain himself. With sheer strength, he shattered his enemy's jaw and defeated him. But before he could kill him, the king's guards intervened, arresting them both. The captain's men tried to hide the bodies of their victims, but Xiao exposed them, dragging the corpses into the open. The princess then testified before the king, proving the prince's innocence. Cornered, the captain confessed that without the servant girl, the prince would have been dead. The captain was sentenced to 100 lashes. Relieved, the princess rushed to comfort the Prince of the North, but he rejected her, still believing she had tried to poison him. He walked away coldly, returning to his palace, where Xiao waited anxiously. Seeing her injuries, he felt guilt and wanted to fetch medicine for her, but she refused, begging him to stay with her instead. At the same time, Young discovered that the evil prince's grandmother was imprisoned in a secret chamber within the palace. He fought through countless guards and deadly traps until he reached her. She revealed the truth. His mother had been falsely accused and killed in a conspiracy. Overwhelmed with sorrow and rage, Young vowed revenge. The evil prince awaited him outside, furious that Young had infiltrated his palace, but Young stood tall, warning him that if he interfered again, he would regret it. Later, Young gathered Xiao's belongings, her sword, her ring, and buried them, creating a tomb in her name. Standing before it, he wept, remembering their missions, their training, and the fleeting moments they had shared. Elsewhere, Xiao herself visited the graves of her sisters. Her eyes fell on a headstone, her own. Shock and sorrow washed over her as she realized the world believed she was dead. She realizes it was Young who did all of this, understands that he still remembers her, and feels guilty for misjudging him. He had been trying to help her. She takes up her sword and returns to the Prince of the North. He's worried sick because she slipped out of the palace without telling him. He urges her to take care of herself. They sit to eat together, but she falls asleep from exhaustion. He watches her quietly, clearly growing fond of her. At night, he trains hard to grow stronger so he can protect her. She wakes and begins training alongside him. The next day, Young rides out with the army commander to crush the bandits threatening the city. Though the enemy is many, he unleashes his full strength, defeats them, stabilizes the city, and the commander thanks him. Young asks him to stay on and help train the troops. Meanwhile, the Prince of the North keeps training and succeeds in increasing his power. The princess sees him and approaches, asking him to attend her birthday. He apologizes, he cannot. Hurt, she leaves, but he calls her back and gives her a birthday gift, wishing her a happy life. She's delighted. Afterward, he goes to Xiao and finds her sketching something. She refuses to tell him what it is and works through the night until she finishes. It's a powerful weapon whose design she once saw in Young's palace, something that can protect them. Impressed, he helps her, and the two begin collaborating to build it as soon as possible. He hears the captain of the guard has been released from prison and wants revenge, but he's unafraid and sets a trap. That night, fighters sneak into the palace to hunt him, but they fall right into the trap and many are captured. The prince steps out behind them, fights using his new training, and cuts them down. Xiao rushes in to help. Her strength terrifies the rest, and they flee. They then decide to rob the tomb guarded by the evil prince and the captain of the guard, killing two birds with one stone. The next day, they put the plan into action, disguising themselves so no one will recognize them. They infiltrate the tomb, seize the treasures inside, and set the place ablaze. Sensing someone approach, the enemy scatters to escape by different routes. Zhao holds one of them off to buy time. He turns out to be a master martial artist. He reads her moves and snatches her sword. She slips away and escapes. When he looks down at the sword, he's stunned, and the blade permits him to walk out of the palace freely and move about the city without hindrance. The prince is thrilled, thanks him, and it's clear he is plotting something. As he exits the palace, Yang sees him and asks whether Xiao is still alive. The man refuses to answer and walks away. News of the tomb robbery reaches the king, who is shocked. He orders the captain to investigate the matter personally. The Prince of the North returns to the palace and tells Xiao what happened, explaining that Yang suspects she's alive. He begs her to be careful and not leave the palace alone. He tends to the wound on her neck. At the same time, Yang holds her sword, thinking of her, missing her, and feeling certain she still lives. The army commander comes to ask Yang's help in the investigation to find who robbed the tomb. The next day, Xiao and the prince go to the forest to train. They run into someone who recognizes her, so she hides and wanders off alone until she finds an injured rabbit. Pitying it, she splints its legs so it can walk. Suddenly an arrow whistles toward her, but she dodges at the last instant. Two princes from another city appear, mistaking her for a runaway servant from the palace and deciding to arrest her. She sprints away as they chase and fire arrows. When they think they have her, she outsmarts them, pretending to be a weak servant until she's close enough to their horse, then vaults on, steals it, and escapes. Back at the palace, the Prince of the North anxiously awaits her return. She refuses to tell him what happened, but assures him she's fine. He has a gift ready. When she opens it, she finds a new dress. She's touched and thanks him. Suddenly, the same two princes arrive, searching for her. She doesn't fear them and faces them directly. They offer the Prince of the North any price if he will hand her over. He refuses, declaring she is not for sale. She is his personal attendant. They try to strike her, but he steps in front, warning that anyone who touches her will regret it. Intimidated, they back down and leave. Soon there is a grand banquet. The Prince of the North must attend, and Xiao agrees to go so he won't leave her alone. She wears the new dress. At the banquet, Yang sees her and is captivated by her beauty, but he keeps her identity secret to avoid endangering her. One of the visiting princesses from the forest, however, recognizes Xiao and vows revenge. She asks the king to let Xiao duel her attendant. If the attendant wins, the princess will kill Xiao herself. The Prince of the North tries to stop the challenge, but the king ignores him and orders Xiao into the arena. The crowd underestimates Xiao, thinking she is weak. Her opponent is a hulking fighter. The duel begins. He charges. She slips aside, strikes, and floors him with ease. The audience erupts, chanting her name. The visiting princess, enraged, challenges Xiao personally to an archery match. Confident in her own skill, she is sure she'll win. Xiao agrees, sure of herself. When the shooting begins, Xiao dodges every arrow, endures the trial, and astonishes the king with her talent. He grants her freedom from servitude. Xiao rejoices and thanks him. The next day, Xiao and the Prince of the North begin their plan to take revenge on their enemies. One rival prince is competing in a forest race. They set a trap for his guards and wipe them out. Furious, he tries to strike the Prince of the North from behind, but Xiao shoots him with his own arrow and drops him. The prince steps over him and demands an apology for what he did to his father and family, promising forgiveness if he repents. He refuses. The prince remembers his pregnant sister's death, is consumed by rage, and kills him. Back at court, guards notice the prince's disappearance and search until they find his corpse in the forest. The king, suspicious, detains the Prince of the North and orders Yang to investigate. Yang complies, examines the body, and finds the captain of the guard's black map among the evidence. They interrogate the captain. He denies everything and claims he's innocent. But when they search his quarters and discover a map of the city's defenses, it confirms he is a spy. He's arrested and brought before the king. The evidence is overwhelming. He's sentenced to death, and the execution is carried out in front of everyone. The Prince of the North walks out of the palace free and smiling, and only then do we learn he and Xiao orchestrated the entire scheme. They planted the arrows and the map to pin the crime on their enemies and eliminate them in a single stroke. He returns to the palace and tells Xiao what happened. The plan worked. Suddenly, a guard enters. The king wants to see Xiao. She's startled and doesn't know why, but she must go. At court, the evil prince sees her, furious that she carries a sword, and orders his men to attack her. She is stronger than they are, and no one can lay a hand on her. Young arrives and stops them, declaring he is the one who gave her the sword and that she keeps it with the king's blessing. He takes her to the king, who wishes to test her strength. Young lunges at her. She uses the very training he gave her to block every strike. Pleased to see her still strong, he asks her to spend one day serving him, as in the old days, to repay him for training her. She agrees, but says she must inform the Prince of the North first, so he doesn't worry. She returns to the palace where the prince has prepared her favorite foods. She's touched. She tells him she'll go to Young's palace for one day and come back. Trusting her, he agrees. The next day, Xiao enters Young's palace, swept by nostalgia. In his room, he asks her to make tea. She does it, bristling, treating him coldly. He takes her to the training grounds and spars with her. He's stronger and teases her. She stumbles and nearly falls, but he catches her. Their eyes lock. She pulls away, pained. Later she cooks, and he invites her to share the meal. They spend a gentle evening together. When she prepares to leave, he asks to speak. He tells her about the day her brother died, that he himself begged the brother to let him end his suffering because the poison had already spread and there was no cure. Xiao is stunned and realizes she had misjudged him, but she is still hurt that he had tried to kill her before. She leaves. Outside, his guard explains that Young did it to save her, that he had tried to reach her but was delayed when the king summoned him. Xiao returns to the prince's palace and spends the night turning Young's words over in her mind, guilt gnawing at her for misunderstanding him. At that time, the king's advisor confides to his son that the royal physician knows a dangerous secret. He orders the son to silence the doctor before he speaks. Young's spies learn of the plot and move first. The next day, the physician tries to flee the city, only to be cornered by a gang sent to kill him. Terrified, he believes his end has come, until Xiao appears and shields him, fighting the attackers. They are many and press hard, but she stands firm. Young arrives in time to turn the tide, defeats the gang, then notices Xiao is wounded in the arm. He takes her hand, cleans the wound, and dresses it. She thanks him. The king's advisor is forced to confess he was leaking the city's secrets to the enemy for money. He begs for punishment for himself but mercy for his innocent son, the only heir to their family. The king agrees, sentencing the advisor to prison and installing the son as head of the household. He recognizes that Xiao helped expose the truth and appoints her commander of the training camp because of her strength. The Prince of the North is anxious, sad that she'll be away, but she reassures him she'll be fine and promises to visit every day. She reports to the camp to begin work. Upon arrival, she sees a soldier being punished with a death sentence. She intervenes, halting the execution until she can investigate whether he deserves it. The soldiers cheer and thank her. That night, she checks on the condemned man, tending his wounds. She learns he was punished for trying to flee the army to see his wife, who was in labor. Moved, she promises to help. The next day, the Prince of the North visits her at the camp with a gift. She's grateful. At the same time, Young meets with the army commander and speaks admiringly of Xiao. The commander says it seems she loves someone else. Then they spot her standing with the Prince of the North. Young is struck by the sight and feels a surge of jealousy. Xiao trains the soldiers in archery. Everyone is impressed by her power. The commander challenges her and easily hits the target, dazzling the troops. He's stronger than she is. He calls her to his office and urges her to quit the army. The work will break her. She refuses, promising she'll succeed. Later, he meets the queen consort who wants him to marry the princess. Neither of them is in love, and they quietly conspire to sabotage the match. The following day, Xiao marches with the army to greet the crown prince of a neighboring state. The moment he sees her, he's smitten. He rides behind her, staring shamelessly, and she's afraid the commander will punish her for the awkward scene. Instead, he's proud, encouraging her not to let anyone touch her against her will. Back in the city, the visiting crown prince tries to embrace her from behind. Thinking an attack is coming, she flips him to the ground. Amazed by her strength, he insists she ride in his carriage as his guard until they reach the king. Along the way, he flirts and crowds her. She won't tolerate it. She tosses him out of the carriage. He limps back in and sits quietly, afraid she'll hit him again. Before the king, the crown prince asks to choose a bride from the city to seal an alliance. He shocks everyone by choosing Xiao. Outraged courtiers insist she is a servant and unfit. Xiao is furious. She does not love him and storms from the palace, passing Young in the corridor without a glance. The princess learns the king wants to marry her to the visiting crown prince. Heartbroken, she goes to the king and confesses she loves the prince of the north and will never accept anyone else. She begs him to approve their marriage. The king is taken aback, then summons the prince of the north and informs him of his decision. He will marry the princess. She is suitable, they grew up together, and they are well matched. The prince of the north speaks up and says he sees the princess like a sister and isn't ready for marriage. The king loses his temper at this defiance and asks if he's refusing because he loves Xiao. Afraid the king will harm her, the prince lies, saying Xiao is just his servant and there's nothing between them, and reluctantly agrees to marry the princess. Around this time, Xiao meets a woman in the palace who knows her past, but Xiao doesn't recognize her. Her memory is still gone. When Xiao leaves the palace, she sees the prince with the princess and realizes they're going to marry. She's hurt. She had grown fond of him. That night, he asks to meet in the forest and tells her plainly that the marriage is a political move so he can reach his goal and avenge his family. Xiao is shaken and worried for the princess, whose heart will break. She truly loves him and isn't at fault. He says he has no other choice and thanks Xiao for staying by his side, promising to repay her someday. The next day, he receives an anonymous message to meet at an inn. His maid fears it's a trap, but he goes anyway. A spy is waiting and proposes an alliance. She wants to overthrow the king who wronged him and killed his family, and she promises to help him reclaim his city. He's suspicious, but with no better option, he agrees and asks for her plan. Meanwhile, Xiao is training at the camp. Young notices her anger and asks if she's upset about the prince marrying the princess. She won't answer. She says all that matters is regaining her memory and avenging her slain sisters, then walks away. The queen consort beats the princess for refusing the marriage, accusing the prince of using her to take revenge. The princess cries and insists she loves him, trusts him, and will not abandon him. Later, the visiting crown prince comes to the camp with flowers for Xiao. She tries to ignore him, but he pesters her. She keeps breaking his heart, telling him she doesn't love him, and walks off. He chases after her and tries to grab her. She flips him to the ground. Young arrives, sees the scene, and Xiao pointedly lets the crown prince escort her away to make Young jealous. She and the prince ride their horses, racing through the forest. Suddenly, assassins appear to kill the crown prince. Xiao senses them, sprints to him, and knocks him aside before the poison arrows strike. But his guards are all slain. She shields him herself, dodging arrows while keeping him safe. Though the attackers are many, she keeps moving, picking them off one by one, taking a sword and cutting down a large number. Exhausted, she drags the crown prince up a tree to hide, but the assassins keep firing. She decides to jump with him into the lake. News reaches the Prince of the North that Xiao is in danger. He wants to rescue her, but guards forbid him to leave the city. He sends his aide in his place. Xiao, weakened by her injuries, faints. The crown prince stays by her side, grateful that she risked her life for him. He fires a signal rocket for help. Young learns what happened, gathers soldiers and rides out, but finds no one when he arrives. We see Xiao still risking herself to protect the crown prince until she collapses again. He covers her with his own body and presses a weapon into her hand so she can defend herself. 3 fighters close in, but Xiao uses the prince's weapon to kill them before blacking out. When she wakes, Young is standing over her. She says she doesn't need his help and tells him to leave. He refuses to abandon her, lifts her onto his horse, and gallops for the city. The assassins catch up. He sets her down and fights them. Though they are many, none can stand against him. He smashes them aside and breaks their bones. The Prince of the North arrives on horseback, grabs Xiao, and flees. Young finishes the battle, seizes the crown prince from the attackers, and returns him safely to the city. That night, Xiao sleeps from sheer exhaustion. The Prince of the North dresses her wounds and sits beside her, watching over her in fear for her safety. When she wakes, she's moved that he stayed all night and thanks him. He asks her not to risk herself like that again. Young later goes to speak with the prince and urges him to abandon revenge. It will endanger both him and Xiao. The prince denies plotting anything and says he only wants peace, then leaves. The next day, he visits the princess. She lights up when she sees him and wants to show her wedding dress, but the king enters and asks the prince whether he'd like to return to his city. The prince pretends he doesn't care and says he's happy to live here. Xiao then learns the soldier she once saved is about to be executed. She rushes to stop it. The general personally comes to carry out the sentence. The soldiers try to dissuade him, believing the man innocent, but he ignores them. Xiao arrives just in time, blocks the execution, and stands beside the condemned soldier, telling the general that if he wants to carry it out, he must kill her first. He hesitates. He knows the king appointed her, and backs down. The soldiers cheer her name. Humiliated, the general orders Xiao to stand under the blazing sun as punishment for defying him. Because of her injuries, she grows dizzy and collapses. Young receives a message about her condition, rushes to help, finds her on the ground, and carries her to a room to rest. She is feverish and delusional, clinging to his hand as she sleeps. He stays with her to calm her. In the morning, she wakes, pulls herself together, and goes to the Prince of the North. She tells him there are soldiers in the army who hate the king and might help their cause. Intrigued, he agrees to meet them and hear their goals. That night, the soldiers come to his palace. They reveal they fought alongside his father and that he saved their lives many times. They kneel and pledge loyalty. Xiao is thrilled. Their numbers are growing, and they're close to what they need. She promises the soldiers she will protect them. The next day, the king summons the evil prince and the army commander, ordering a smooth, trouble-free wedding for his daughter. Extra guards are assigned to the palace. At the same time, Xiao and the Prince of the North sit together over a map of the city's defenses and plan their escape. They'll flee on the wedding day when security is distracted. The crown prince stops by to bid farewell. He's returning to his own city. He thanks Xiao for saving his life and invites her to visit, promising to repay her and grant any wish she asks. Xiao is warmed by his kindness. They agree to remain friends and help each other if trouble comes. That night, Xiao and the Prince of the North share drinks in the garden. He asks if she's afraid and wants to run. She says she isn't afraid and will stay by his side until his vengeance is done. He is touched, but he quietly instructs his aide to smuggle Xiao out of the palace on the wedding day to ensure her safety. The princess happily prepares for her wedding to the man she loves. Young visits her and asks that Xiao be assigned to guard the palace with him during the ceremony so she won't run. The princess agrees. Xiao obeys the order and stands guard with Young, but she refuses to speak to him. The wedding day arrives. The Prince of the North sets his plan in motion, climbing into the carriage to go to the royal palace. On the road, memories flood him. The public trial, his family dying before his eyes, his mother's final plea that he not surrender. Rage consumes him. He vows to reclaim his family's honor. But the army commander stops the carriage. He's discovered the plot and tries to arrest the prince. The prince explodes into action. His men, fiercely loyal, fight at his side. They overpower the commander's forces. The prince cuts him down and declares war on the king. The princess hears the news and panics, begging the prince not to start a war because of her. He refuses, orders guards to take her to her room, and move forward. Young notices Xiao has slipped away and realizes she's begun her part of the plan. He chases and catches her trying to escape the palace. He pleads with her to stop, but she refuses. She says the king is a tyrant using his daughter to destroy the prince just as he destroyed his family. She vows to stand with the prince until justice is done and tells Young to get out of her way or he'll regret it. He blocks her, sparring and parrying her strikes, begging her to reconsider so she doesn't throw her life away. She ignores him and fights with everything she has. Guards approach. Young hides her until they pass. He tells her he won't stand in her way, but warns that she'll regret this choice because many innocent people will die. She doesn't care. Revenge is her goal. She vaults over the wall and disappears. Word reaches the palace. The princess has fled her room, the prince has begun the war, and countless royal guards have fallen. Shocked, the king posts a massive bounty for the prince's head. The city becomes a battlefield. Many guards die. The prince's soldiers urge him to retreat, but he refuses. He is determined to find Xiao and take her with him. Xiao, meanwhile, is saving innocent bystanders. The prince finds her and tells her to come. The The princess arrives in tears and begs him to stop. She no longer wants to marry him and will apologize to the king. She only wants him safe. Her brother appears, calls the prince a traitor who must die, and orders her away. She won't believe him and stands in front of the prince. Forced to be cruel, the prince breaks her heart, admitting he never loved her and used her to get back at her father. She collapses, sobbing, begging him to stop so she doesn't lose him. He refuses, knocks her aside, and leaves. He tells Xiao to wait for him at the gate. The prince's soldiers clash with the king's guards, cutting many down. But then the soldiers realize the prince has left them. They withdraw to follow him back to his city, only to reach the gate and find it closed. They understand. The prince abandoned them and fled with only his aides. Feeling betrayed by both the prince and Xiao, they fight alone to the death. The Prince of the North reaches Xiao, but she sees he has returned only with his closest men and is destroying the bridge so the king's guards cannot pursue them. Realizing he has abandoned the army, she refuses to go and rides back to help. She spurs her horse, leaps the bridge before it collapses, and astonishes everyone with her courage. On the battlefield, the prince's soldiers are overwhelmed. Their weapons are spent, and many lie dead. All hope seems lost, until Xiao bursts in, throws the gates wide, lifts their banner, and shouts that she will fight beside them and will not let them die alone. She promises to protect them. The evil prince arrives. Xiao steps forward and challenges him. She will avenge her sisters and all the innocents who died at his hands. She struck him down, killing him, just as his side was about to claim victory. Still, Xiao urged her soldiers to retreat. Their weapons and supplies were running out, and what little food remained had to be taken back home. Meanwhile, the emperor's son and daughter reached Prince of the North's camp, and a fierce battle broke out. Both were struck down and collapsed unconscious. At that moment, the army of Prince, the same troops Xiao had once saved, begged her to become their commander. But she refused. A true army must be loyal to only one leader, and that leader is Prince of the North. Then her forces captured men from Prince of the North's camp and learned what had happened to the emperor's children, as well as the betrayals surrounding them. Her brother, still unconscious, awoke later but rejected Xiao's help. "We're enemies now," he told her. Yet Xiao stubbornly remained, insisting she would see them safely through. Exhausted, she collapsed, but the prince treated her wounds, saying she was the only one capable of bringing the army back alive. When she recovered, Xiao made her choice. She would leave them and return to Prince of the North. The prince was heartbroken, but Xiao thanked him for standing by her all these years. "From the beginning, our fates were to be enemies," she told him, then walked away. Soon after, their elder brother arrived, and the princess demanded he hunt Xiao down and take revenge. At that moment, the Princess Langsu received word. Her kidnapped son, taken by evil prince who was dead. Prince of the North, still obsessed with Xiao, learned that the emperor had issued an order to arrest her. Furious, he intensified his search. Xiao, meanwhile, was cornered by imperial troops, but escaped thanks to a dim-witted farmer passing by with a donkey. She teased him the whole way to the city. "Isn't my life hard enough already without you slowing me down?" While Prince of the North summoned the neighboring tribes to form an alliance, they refused, revealing they were already aligned with the emperor. But Prince of the North learned of the upcoming wall festival in the Hotor tribe, where all nearby clans would gather. "Perfect," he said. "If you won't come to me, I'll strike you there." He surprised them, crushed their defenses, and declared himself their new king. Meanwhile, Xiao was with Liang, but imperial soldiers stormed in to arrest her. She slipped free with Liang's help, but they were recaptured. Around this time, Prince of the North discovered Liu Shi had sold off all his possessions to buy food and medicine for the suffering people of northern Yan after the duke's death. Illness had spread, and to protect the nation, a secret trade chamber was formed, with Liu Shi among its members. The crown prince incited the people not to pay taxes, saying only blood would force them to hand over their accounts. The secret ledger was hidden with Xiao, passed to her by Liang, though she had not yet realized its importance. As for Yang, he searched for Xiao but lost track of her. A wealthy man purchased her through a broker. Shockingly, it was the same man the crown prince had ordered to buy Xiao and help her. Yang arrived at the same estate. When Xiao saw him, she panicked and tried to kill him until she realized it was him. They fought, as always, and in the chaos, fate threw them into a kiss. Yang didn't expose her presence to the guards. Instead, he hid her. Just as he was about to press her further, a messenger burst in. Wei Shui was here and demanded to see him. Yang muttered, "Wei Shui! If I run into her, I'll split her head in two." He told Xiao to leave and never cross his path again, even disguising her in new clothes. Yet when he looked at her, he was stunned by her beauty, thinking to himself, "So she truly is a woman." He helped her escape, pretending she was his wife, even tending her wounds when she was poisoned. Traveling together, they found 2 children hiding in their cart. A boy named Mura, from a family slaughtered by Northern Yan soldiers, and a poor girl who clung to Xiao. They kept the boy with them. Prince of the North was hunting him to kill him and returned the girl to her family. That night, screams woke them. The girl's family had been massacred, the girl herself killed. Enraged, Xiao hunted the perpetrators, only to realize she had stumbled into Prince of the North's own camp. But when Prince of the North saw it was her, he ordered his men to let her go. Such was his twisted love. Shaken, Xiao chose to leave again, entrusting Mura to his care. At her siblings' graves, she was found by Wei Shui, who tried to capture her. She escaped but nearly died, only to be saved at the last moment by the crown prince who had long loved her. When Wei Shui asked after her, he was told she was dead. Yang didn't believe it. He was sure she lived. Soon a message from the crown prince confirmed she was with him. Yang rushed desperately to see her, nearly dying of worry. But Xiao's condition was dire. The poison had no cure. The crown prince admitted only the Brotherhood camp possessed a possible antidote. He planned to infiltrate it, kill their leader, and steal the cure. Meanwhile, the spy girl interrogated a girl from the Brotherhood, trying to learn who Luo Hei's daughter was. The whole world seemed to be hunting Xiao. When the spy girl reached the Brotherhood camp, she found a massacre unfolding over nothing more than a slice of cake. Their leader strutted arrogantly, and one woman silenced him with a dagger to the throat. Then the true chieftain arrived, followed soon after by Yang. Chaos erupted. Yang subdued one of their warriors and forced her to reveal the leader's secrets. He reached the chief in time to see him collapse, already poisoned. But Yang discovered he was only a stand-in, not the real leader. Still, Yang secured the cure and even treated the wounded, refusing to abandon them. When Yang returned, Xiao was gone. He despaired, until suddenly she stood before him, pale but alive. Joy lit his face. He rushed to embrace her. She thanked him but told him she had to leave for Northern Yan. "Next time we meet, it will be on the battlefield." He silenced her with a kiss, unable to hide his feelings anymore. At that same time, Prince of the North's army was weakening, supplies dwindling, only a month left before collapse. The emperor dispatched troops to finish him, knowing he had just 150 starving men left, their stores stolen. Even the emperor's son and Yang warned him. Disaster rained down faster than storms. Xiao went to Officer Hu to ask his help in defending Yanbei, where Prince of the North's aide was stationed. When she arrived with her men, they were mistaken for spies. Gates slammed shut. The corrupt officer, realizing Xiao herself was outside, tricked her inside but laid a trap. Only Fang, loyal and fierce, managed to save her from him. But Xiao wasn't one to back down. No one could silence her. She rallied the soldiers, led them into Yanbei, and war erupted between Yanbei and the emperor's army. Yet the allied troops who were supposed to fight by their side suddenly withdrew, taking all their weapons with them. Even then, Xiao didn't surrender. She pressed on, using old battlefield tricks and her sharp mind, and managed to outwit the emperor's forces. She pushed them back from the city gates. Still, danger remained. Xiao hoped Prince of the North would come to her. When news reached him, he prepared to rush to her aid, but his aide reminded him that reinforcements were already approaching. Xiao, meanwhile, had a chance to escape from the secret hideout in Yanbei, but Prince of the North instead ordered his men to bring her so she would leave with them. When Prince of the North's aide came for her, Xiao refused. She couldn't believe how far he had fallen, destroying everything around him, and swore she wouldn't abandon the people of Yanbei just to save herself. At that same time, the emperor's son discovered that it had been his sister who stole the commander's accounts, a theft that could bring disaster to their kingdom. He confronted her, told her what she'd done, and begged her to return to the palace, but she refused. That night, Prince of the North's army stormed Yanbei and burned it to the ground. Prince of the North celebrated his victory, but then heard that Xiao had never left the city. She might have died in the flames. Distraught, he pulled back his forces, despite everyone begging him not to waste their sacrifices. He declared he could give up anyone, but not Xiao. Meanwhile, the princess allied with Wei's troops, determined to kill Xiao herself. They seized Yanbei. Xiao nearly met her end, but she fought through, killing her attacker. The princess arrived, ready to finish her, but once again Yang appeared, saving Xiao at the last moment. Yet he walked away without a word. No one could know he had saved her, for they were enemies. When Xiao regained consciousness, Prince of the North came to see her, but she showed plainly that she no longer wanted to. Because of the princess's schemes, Xiao was sentenced to execution. Either way, they said, she was as good as dead, if not by the sword, then by her own ill fate. The emperor couldn't bring himself to kill his daughter directly, so he ordered her to drink poisoned wine. Her mother stepped forward, saying, "She is my daughter. If I failed to raise her, then let me take her place." She drank the cup herself. The emperor stripped his daughter of her title, condemning her to live among commoners. At that time, Yang was training, but the grandfather suddenly ordered him to go to Yanbei to help Xiao. Though Yang hated her, the grandfather sensed danger closing in. Sure enough, as Yang's guards moved out, Prince of the North learned Yang had reached Yanbei with only a small force, hoping to become its duke. Prince of the North's aide plotted an ambush against him. But Yang uncovered the trap. His spies had already learned of it. Elsewhere, Xiao and Fang worked with a grain merchant to sneak troops into Yanbei disguised as traders. They planned a night attack, but instead ran into an old, retired bandit leader. Killing him would gain nothing. Xiao captured the intruders herself, but when she tried to spring her trap, Yang spoiled it. "Don't forget, I was the one who taught you to write," he told her. He revealed the letter she had received was forged. He ordered his men to retreat, leaving Prince of the North's aide humiliated. At this time, Prince of the North learned the emperor was gravely ill, near death. Prince of the North swore he would cut off his head himself to avenge his father. Tensions between him and Xiao grew unbearable. They could barely look at each other. Meanwhile, Princess Chun cozied up to the emperor's youngest son, trying to position him as heir, hating her stepmother and plotting revenge. She even tried to poison the emperor, but was caught and locked away in a temple. General Cheng, a treacherous man, stirred up Prince's army, telling them Prince of the North and Xiao wanted them gone. He tore their banner and turned them against Prince of the North. Then he went to Prince of the North, pretending to beg for help. "They're rebels now, refusing to leave unless Xiao orders it." Furious, Prince of the North commanded their execution. Their commander shouted back, "Rebels! I fought for you! I betrayed the emperor for you! Are you insane?" Xiao arrived just in time, striking the commander in front of Prince of the North as if she had caused the trouble. But Prince of the North didn't listen. He followed his rage and slaughtered his own men. Xiao realized in that moment he had become truly cruel. She walked away from him. Yang, meanwhile, learned the princess was about to be poisoned. He rushed to save her but was struck with an arrow in his back, mortally wounded. With his last breath, he confessed his love for Xiao. "If not here, then we'll be married in heaven." And he died. That night, Xiao discovered General Cheng had ordered her soldiers out on patrols, planning to betray them. She confronted him only to find Yang standing behind her. She realized her suspicions were right. He had come to end everything. She told him she owed him too much, debts she could never repay. Later, Xiao met a mysterious figure who told her about her past, that there had once been a warrior called the Shield, who had protected both her and her mother, Luo He. The Shield had been killed by a Wei officer, while her mother sacrificed herself to protect her. Xiao had fallen into a river and gone missing. When her mother's body was recovered, the truth was buried. Xiao was told she must one day choose between Yang and Prince of the North. Meanwhile, Yang wrote a letter to the emperor, but the spy girl stole and forged another. She met Yang, revealing she knew Xiao was Luo He's daughter. And though Yang couldn't bring himself to kill her, he was bound by duty. At that time, Prince of the North was ill, though no one knew the nature of his sickness. The emperor's daughter Chun'er disguised herself as a physician, hoping to kill him in revenge for spurning her love. She was exposed and driven out, though spared her life. Xiao confronted Yang afterward, vowing, "Next time we meet, it will be on the battlefield, and I will defeat you." He only smiled. "Haven't you already done that before?" But General Cheng whispered poison into Prince of the North's ear. "Xiao has betrayed you. She despises you." The only solution is to kill Prince Young foolishly. Prince of the North believed him and ordered Young's death. They laid a trap, but Young escaped. A soldier warned him that Xiao had sent a message urging him to flee. Young wasn't sure whether to believe it. When Xiao confronted Prince of the North, she scolded him bitterly. "Even you? Now you doubt me? Even you play with my feelings?" She declared she would search for Young herself. But before she could reach him, Li Ticheng and Prince of the North soldiers surrounded Young and slaughtered his men. Xiao arrived just in time to kill them all, but Prince of the North fired an arrow into Young's body while she was distracted. Prince Young fell, refusing to let Xiao save him, and so he died, his love unspoken until the end. And that is how the story ends. Tragic, heartbreaking, yet unforgettable. The drama's events may have left you in despair, but they are worth watching. Stay tuned for more recaps on my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe.